Hello and welcome to another mod you must know. This time I'm going to be taking a look at some of my favorite dimension mods, all for 1.6.4. The first one I'm going to be looking at is a well-known one, the Twilight Forest. Now to get there I'll need a diamond, and I'll just throw it into this pool of water here. You just need a 2x2 of water surrounded by some flowery stuff and whee! So here I am in the Twilight Forest, which as you might expect is a forest-based world with a lot of unique animals and mobs and gear and such. If we come out here, we're in more of a plains-like biome in it now, and here's one of the labyrinth structures, which has some minotaurs, loots, and such. And yeah, if we look in the creative menu here, you can see it adds a few different woods, as well as materials used for the different structures. And it's famous on crafting table as well. But I want to grab a certain item in particular. You can see down here some of the armors like Ironwood, the Naga scale from one of the Naga bosses. And I think this is the right map. There's a few different maps, and yeah, it's made by using a magic map focus, which needs a raven's feather. And this will show you where the different structures are, the different hills, bosses, and whatnot. So let me just go find one of them real quick so I can show you. Okay, so I found the Lich's Tower, which is a giant tower with a huge double spiral staircase and spawners. When you get to the top, it will spawn a Lich, which I already spawned. And yeah, this is one of the bosses, and probably one of my favorites, actually. And he'll drop some cool gear. Overall, I'd say this is a great dimension to explore. It has a lot of awesome structures and biomes, and it has a lot of unique rewards, but I wouldn't say any of them are really overpowered. Most are around diamond level or lower, so you can come here just with iron armor even. And yeah, it's a very cool dimension. Next on the list, I have the Erbus, or Erbus. I'm not sure how it's actually pronounced. To get there, you need a portal activator made like this, and you need a moss stone brick portal, which kind of means you'll need to find a stronghold, because that's the only place you can really find moss stone brick naturally, or have another mod that adds a way to craft it or find it in structures. Either way, this is a pretty high level dimension, and this will usually be consumed if I were in survival. So let's just jump right in. So this is the Erbus. It's a giant cave world filled with a bunch of different insects, making a use for that Bane of Arthropod sword finally. And it has a lot of really cool scenery, and it also has an umber stone instead of normal stone, and it also has Erbus versions of all the vanilla ores, as well as some mod ores as well if you can enable. It does have a couple unique ores to it, more so ones like a petrified wood and such for mostly cosmetic kind of stuff, but there is also a jade ore for a jade armor set, which is pretty hard to find. And I found it. What I really love about the Erbus, besides its awesome biomes, is that it has a whole bunch of different gear, but a lot of it is actually from mob drops. Like they have the jade stuff here, but the exoskeletal and the... I'm not sure what this armor set's actually called, but it's like the top tier armor set is actually from mob drops. So if I just were to show you the legs here, you'll get bio velocities from killing certain mobs, and you can put them around the exoskeletal, which is from the exoskeletons from killing mobs. So it's a bit different compared to a lot of other mobs in that you're not searching for ores in dungeons as much as just exploring and killing stuff, which I think is really cool. Next we have a Tum, or Tomb. I think it's a Tum. Anyway, currently it's kind of being updated still for 1.6, and the current portal is like this, just a 3x3 of sandstone with a rim around it and then pillars on the side. To get there you will need a scarab, which is made like this, and then you just right click and it'll create the portal there, usually consuming the scarab I believe. So let's jump in. So a Tum is a desert-themed world that forces you into a short render distance, and I think it's pretty unique, and it has a bunch of really cool mobs, and I think my favorite part about it is that there's little dungeons like this, but the chest itself is the spawner, and you have to kill nearby mobs before you can even look in the chest. So I just kill these guys real quick. Okay, so I killed them all. Now I can look in the chest and see what's inside. Not much in this one. But let me look around and see if I can find the other structure real quick. I finally found one. This is the maze I was looking for, which is a structure where you go in here. There's little traps around here, which would hurt me more if I wasn't in creative. Oh my, this is dark. But yeah, you have to navigate your way through this, and when you make it to the second floor, there's going to be a boss. The boss was right by the entrance this whole time. So yeah, you come up here, and you open the Pharaoh's chest, and it'll spawn a Pharaoh mob, and when you kill him, he'll drop a special item, and he is dead. And as you see, I got the special helmet here, and if I hit shift, I can see what it does. Atom has a lot of really cool items like this that each have their own bonus effects, and I really like that about them because they're not very strong items. Most are around the same damage as a diamond sword, as you can see, but they have some really cool effects to them, and they look really cool as well. The last thing I would like to mention for this dimension is that it currently still is in beta for 1.6, so there are some bugs like missing textures on the dates there and some other minor bugs, but overall I still would say it's playable. Just beware, you might run into some issues. The last dimension I have to show you is Nyx from the mod Ice and Shadows. To get there I need a portal like this, but you can replace the obsidian with whatever you want. You only need the ice there, and any blocks are what the obsidian is. So I right click with this, I'll get an overworld portal crystal, which you use to teleport back by making a similar structure in Nyx. And you'll have this portal here, but it's not dark enough to go in. Okay, now that it mysteriously turned to night, the portal's open, but you can't just walk in, you have to sprint in. So, whoosh. So this is Nyx. It's a very dark and spooky dimension. And let me hand to creative before I instantly die. So as you would expect, this is a very dark dimension with a lot of icy terrain, and it has a lot of things to it. I don't really know a lot about this dimension though, because there's not a whole bunch of documentation on what everything does, so I only know from what I experimented with so far. But it does have a lot of really cool gear and a lot of really tough mobs too. There might have been one here, I can't really tell. But there's the wisps, which are like invisible spiders and such. There's the winter skeletons, which change their combat style depending on how you're fighting them. Like if you're at a distance, they'll use a bow. If you get up close, they'll use a sword. There's also the wicked necromancers that summon stuff. Nyx also has a lot of different blocks, as you can see from these creative menus here. But the main ones I think I'll focus on are the weapons here. Ichor here is the main ore you'll find in Nyx that I've seen, and it's used to make the base weapon here. And all the other weapons are just an upgrade of this sword. So if I go to this menu here, you'll see they're just upgraded versions of it, usually with more damage, durability, or special effects. The same is true for most of the armor, it just seems to be upgraded versions of that. Anyway, I don't want to try and review all the items because I don't even know what they all do at the moment, but it has a lot of really cool stuff to it. It's an awesome and challenging dimension to explore, and yeah. Well, that's it for this mod you must know. Hopefully you enjoyed my summary of these 4 dimensions. I know I didn't go into a lot of detail, but if you do want to learn more, I suggest you just check out the mod yourself. Also, I do know there's a lot of other dimension mods I didn't cover, like Mistcraft's one, but I didn't want to include it because it only adds new dimensions without a lot of new gear and such that I usually would think of with a dimension mod. But that's another really cool one if you want to check that one out. Besides that, I have tested and played with a lot of others, but these are my favorite 4 of all the ones I've tried. And yeah, I feel that these are all very balanced. They don't add gear that gets super overpowered, and they each have their own unique little twists and challenges to them. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this mod you must know, and until next time, goodbye.